hair off to somebody that's had tumors and the doctor says, hey, can't find no more tumors. Let me tell you what that is. That's a miracle.
Amen.
That's what that is. When you walk in there and they say, well, you know, last time you was here that cancer was there, but we can't find the sign of it now. Wonder what happened. I'll tell you what it was. That's a miracle. That's exactly what that was. When God provides, when you're down there, you think absolutely you can't make it. When the wolf's at the door and out of nowhere, God moves, something happens, you get a financial blessing. That's a miracle. Amen. Seen it happen too many times. Too many times. This world needs to know about Jesus. And they need to hear about it in this little town, in this county, in this state, from this church. They need to know. You know, I'm excited when people say, hey, people say, I seen you baptizing people down there at the lake. Was it cold? I said, yeah, a little bit. But I said, it was great. It was great. Absolutely great. And you know how many folks, how many sinner folks seen that? All kinds. All kinds of them. You know, it was so good to come out of that water, and I looked back through that crowd, and I seen some men, their eyes just water just pouring out of them. Just crying, but then I'm thinking, oh Lord, this is good. And I know what that was. That's the presence of the Lord. You're right down there on the lake shore, right there on the boat ramp. God was right there with us. Right out there in the water, all around. That's how powerful my God is. That's how powerful He is. We got a work to do, folks. We've got a mighty work to do in the last day. We got to tell folks about Jesus. We got to spread the good news. I'm like old Arnold Petrie going on to be with the Lord. But he used to preach that message. He said, I'm just trying to tell the story. Trying to tell the story. I tell you what, folks, I'm trying to tell the story as much as I can to as many people as I can. Amen. That's what it's about. Telling the story. Pressing on toward that mark. Not looking behind, but looking ahead. Got your vision. Got your eyes set. Moving ahead. Not looking through the rearview mirror. Not stuck to the rearview mirror, but pressing on. Amen. Pressing on. God's got a big work to do. Let's stand together. Let's unify together. Let's be as one. And be strong. And press on. And see God move. See Him move. See Him move in a mighty way. Brother Jack.
I can testify for a miracle.
Amen.
About 2 months ago.
You know, I was telling you.
God is alive and prayer does work.
Amen. I was telling a man about you last night. I was telling Owen. I said, that lost Jack. He said, what? I said, yeah. I said, went in to see him up there at the Corbin Hospital, and I just tell you the truth, Owen. I didn't know if he'd been around another day or so. I said, he got pretty bad. He said, what? I said, yeah. But I said, you know what? God raised him right up. I said, he's just as good as new now. But that's what God can do. That's how He can do things. Amen. When we depend upon Him, trust in Him, rely upon Him, keep our eyes on Him, keep focused on Him. Amen. That's what. Press along, weary people. That was my grandpa's favorite song. Press along, weary people. You got to press on. It's a pressing way. You got to keep focused and keep moving in the right direction, man. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. I hope something tonight has helped you. I hope something has inspired you. I hope something has ignited something in you that you say, hey, I'm not going to look to the things of the past. I'm looking to those things before me. I'm reaching out and I'm pressing on in the right direction. Amen. I know it's easy to get discouraged. Believe me, folks. You know, I get a lot of discouraging news, things said, you know, things asked, you know, just a lot. And you know, if I allowed that to absolutely get me down, and you know, I tell you what, I'd come in here so depressed today, I'd have to be going to the doctor or take something. But I had to say, Lord, it's in your hands. You're a great big God. And you see everything and you know everything. And you don't make mistakes. And when I keep my eyes on you and when I stand and say, God, I want to be in the center of your will. Not mine, not yours, not ours, but in God's will. What He'd have us to do. You know, over the last 2 years, many times we've discussed this, and I've mentioned it, and I've brought it up, and I've said, you know, people say, what are you going to do, preacher? What are you going to do? What are y'all going to build? Are you going to buy something? And I'll just be honest with you. I didn't know. There was two or three times I had ideas of what I thought was going to happen. And then the Lord just all of a sudden does something like this. And I say, okay, Lord, I know who's in control. It's you. And you're leading the way. You know what? He's driving the train, folks. You know, He's the conductor up there, okay? He's the engineer. He's the guy up front. He's the guy steering everything, okay? He's the guy in charge, okay? That's right. He's the driver. And you know what? We're just the passengers. A lot of times we try to steer in. Lord, I tell you what, this is what we want to do. Let me tell you what I want to do. I want to do God's will. I want to do God's will. I want to do what He'd have me to do, whatever it is. Whatever. You know, I was talking to a buddy of mine that he went to seminary. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's one. There's educated, you know, places to go and all that stuff. And you know, I've got quite a bit of education. I don't feel like I'm any smarter. You know, I got a couple pieces of paper. But I don't realize that if I'm any smarter, I might be. I don't know. The older I get, the dumber I get, I think. But, you know, my buddy was telling me, he said, you know, I got through seminary. And he said, you know, I met with a bunch of these guys and said they were all trying to determine what direction they were going to go in their preaching career. And I said, their what? He said, their preaching career, their ministry, their career. I said, really? He said, yeah. He said, you know, a lot of them, they put out fillers, they applied, they sent applications, you know, and all this stuff. And, you know, I didn't realize that a lot of these guys, they go in and negotiate, you know. I mean, they walk in and they sit down with some pulpit committee and they begin to negotiate all this stuff and they interview. And I thought to myself, I said, what part of that has to do with God's will? Where was God in that? Where we said, well, God, you send me where I need to be in your will. And, you know, and listen, folks, I'm totally committed to this, that God will provide your needs. Okay? Maybe not what you got in mind that you want, but your needs. I know I'm mad at here just a minute after I get past this, but I've got to touch on this. And he said, you know, these guys would come back in and say, oh, I got offered this package, and I was like, man, it was a mind-boggling, some of them. You know, just, ooh. And I thought, wow. You know, I wonder how many of them said, God, I'm going to pray and your will be done and you send me where I need to be. Not maybe where I want to be, but where I need to be in your will. And I thought, I said, ain't a whole lot of guys does that. There's some that do. But there's a lot of them that said, well, you know, I heard somebody tell me one time they talked to a guy about coming to being a pastor, and he accepted to come, and then he called him back in a few days and said, I got a better offer. I'm like, wow. I didn't have no offers. I didn't. The Lord said, hey, if I drove by one day, and he said, go in there. And I walked in there, and he said, no, walk down this way, look in there. And I was looking through windows, and I looked at that carpet over there, and I said, oh, Lord. He said, right here's the spot. I said, but Lord, he said, it's it, right here. Here's the spot. Here's your spot. And a lot of you know, you was over there helping, trying to get that out of the floor. You know, a lot of you never realized how dirty that carpet was until you took them chairs up, did you? Looked like the cows had slept in there. And some people, you know, these guys say, well, my first church was whatever. I said, well, my first one was a little storefront over here in the corner, like a 30 by 50. But you know what? I wouldn't trade it for nothing. I wouldn't trade it for a thing. I would trade it for the biggest church going. I wouldn't trade it for the biggest building, the biggest crowd, the biggest salary there is. Because I know that I know that I know that I know that God put me in this place.
Amen.
And he put you in this place.
Amen.
And he sent folks from every direction this way. And you know what? I said, I would trade it for the world. You ain't kidding. I look back and I said, I count it all joy.